Good evening, Hawks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Atlanta Sports District. I'm your host, Russell Spence, coming to you directly after a 110-87 victory over the Denver Nuggets. In tonight's game, just to start off with, the Trae Young trade has become official. It is officially Corey Kispert and CJ McCollum traded to the Hawks, and Trae Young traded to the Washington Wizards. At the same time, Washington got demolished by New Orleans today, which is just more flame on the fire for that not being a wonderful move. We made Washington worse today, and they then lose to New Orleans. That kind of stinks, but the post-Trae Young era has begun. At this point, now the trade is a sunk cost. We shouldn't make any of our decisions based upon trying to avoid any sort of bad press with the Trae Young trade. At this point, it's been done. We try to make the best, most smart decision from now. Keep going on. That's the way that you build a great team, is that you just say whatever happens, happens. If a team is better off for a deal, then the team's better off for a deal. If the team's worse for a deal, then it was worse. But you don't ever make a decision in past, a decision that's trying to make up for something you did in the past. You always just say, what's the best thing we think we can do for the team right now? And so moving forward, I think that's what you need to continue to do with the trade deadline. We have some available roster flexibility still. You can still cut and Feli Dante. There's things that can be done. CJ McCollum isn't expiring. You can go out and get some good players at the deadline. And I would continue to make deals that you think that from this day forward make our team better continuously. I would not give up the New Orleans pick. Anybody who's talking about giving up the New Orleans pick is absolutely out of their head, because no matter who it is that you're trading for, if they're a proven superstar even, they're not going to be as young as that player that could be a proven superstar in the future. You always, in my opinion, play for the younger player, because at the end of the day, that player will have much more room to grow than your older, a veteran superstar. So now moving to the game from today, we'll talk about the offense and defense. And we're going to discuss, what I thought we did well and the reason why it went well and the reason why the game was so successful today. Quite honestly, we'll start offensively. I thought the offense was quite bad today. There was a lot of jump shooting that was not coming off of an inside-out look. There was very little attacking that happened. And that proves out in the numbers. I mean, in a pretty fast-paced game, we only scored 110 points. But we were able to make some of our shots going into the second quarter and the fourth quarter that kind of spread our lead out. We had a few players shoot the ball very well, few players shoot the ball very, very poorly, and that kind of rounded out to not a very great offensive game. In my opinion, we should be using our athleticism to our advantage. We're an extraordinarily athletic team, and there are multiple players that I would like to see go downhill more often. One of those being Jalen. When Jalen plays downhill, he is unstoppable. In the fourth quarter, there were multiple times where he just took the ball and he shoved it down their throat, and then he shot a little 4 or 5 foot jump shot and it went in. And then they said, okay, now we have to back up. And then he made threes over their heads because there was nobody really guarding him. When you can do that, when you can say, I can drive and I can shoot, that is when you become an unstoppable offensive scorer and a play finisher. That's kind of what we need from Jalen moving forward, is that ability to go attack the rim and shoot the ball. But I want him to be doing the attacking more often, especially when he gets a switch on what I would call a favorable size matchup. So tonight, he got a bunch of times where he was switched on Christian Braun, he's switched on Peyton Watson, he's switched on Hunter Tyson. If I see I'm either much taller than this player or much bigger than this player, physically stronger than this player, I am going to go at them. In the fourth quarter, he had one where Tim Hardaway Jr. got switched on him. He drove straight at his head. He lowered his shoulder into him. Tim Hardaway went flying by because Jalen is so much stronger than him. And then Jalen just stops and says, boop, oh, look, 2 points. And then he could do that every single time that the player that is guarding him is significantly smaller than him. And that is one way that Jalen can get those two-man looks that create so much tension for the defense. When two guys have to go attack Jalen, that's when the passing opens up. And we saw he didn't really do much of that tonight. He still scored. He still made his jump shots. but he did not get as many assists because he was not forcing two players to play him. So, in my opinion, he would be better off attacking, getting downhill more often. He's not going to go, 5 for 6, 6 for 7 from three every night. We need him playing in the paint a lot. The other player that I wish would play downhill more is Mohamed Gay. Mo Gay does not realize how much his physical frame should scare defenses. When you are a 7-foot tall man who can handle the ball pretty well, he has good ball movement skills. When you are that person, attacking the rim is terrifying to a defense. When you sit there and say, it could possibly be that this player is going to take a dribble and dunk it on our head. If that is to happen, the defense is going to anticipate that. They're going to over-rotate, and you're going to get open shooters and things on the backside, or they're going to give up dunks. That is simple as can be. So if it were me, I would like to see Jalen and Mo play more downhill, and we'll get some more players that I thought did a good job playing downhill tonight, and it's what led to them having a lot of success in their minutes. Now let's move to defensively. We played an absolutely outstanding defensive game. We held this team to 87 points in a high possession game. The difference in the game was we had no minutes in the competitive portion of the game without Dyson or Naw on the court. And for multiple stints, we played huge in tonight's game. We put Jalen at the 3. We had Mo and Onyeka, Mo and Asa and Onyeka on the floor while Jalen was on the floor for multiple stints in tonight's game. But also, we never had a moment where we were small. We never had a moment where Onyeka's playing the 5 and Zach's playing the 4. I know Zach was not playing tonight, but that's just an example where you look and you go, this lineup we put on the floor is not capable of getting stops defensively. And it's what I've talked about with Asa in, kind of perpetuity of this season, where when he's on the floor, if you've got him and Kennard and Veet, you're going to get torched defensively. But you put him in a lineup that's got Naw, Jalen, and Mo, he's got a lot less responsibility. Now he can shine in what he does well because he has basically no defensive responsibilities. Naw and Mo basically get every stop that they possibly can. And then Jalen kind of cleans up some things here, and maybe Veet gets a steal, and all of a sudden the minutes are won. But if you have where Asa has to be the primary rim protector, he's playing center, and the guy next to him is Jalen, he's out on the perimeter, he's not protecting the rim, and we're just getting bludgeoned at the rim. If that happens, the defense is bad. Well, tonight we did not have a single minute where I feel like we were too small or where we had a lineup that was incapable of getting stops. The only time I would say that happened was in the third quarter. They made a run where we had a lineup that was Keaton, Veet, Kennard, Asa, Mo. And it's okay, well, that's 4 dudes who can't get a stop, and Mo. And so it really looked bad. During that short stint of time, we started to struggle offensively, and then things kind of got out of hand. They started coming back. Luckily, we were able to then right the ship when the fourth quarter started, played extremely well defensively in the fourth quarter, had multiple spurts of 10-0, 10-3. At one point, it was 22-3 in the fourth quarter. They ended up, for the first 8 to 9 minutes of the fourth quarter, they only had 9 points in the quarter. Just an absolutely fantastic defensive quarter. I understand that they're hurting and that they have injuries and things like that. But at the end of the day, the difference in the game was the fact that we could get stops and they could not at the same level. We were continually able to get stops throughout the whole game, and they were not. And that's the difference. And I've said, if you're not going to have Trae Young, that's how you have to win a basketball game. You hold them to 80-something points. Then we'll win every game. But if you say, we don't have Trae Young, so now we're going to still try to beat teams 130 to 127, you're going to lose a lot of those games. So I really like this venture into playing big, playing defensive lineups. It really worked, and I would like to see it continue to happen because I've been saying all year that it would work. But, I'm not in the coaching staff. Nobody's here listening to me. I guarantee you, Quinn's staff isn't going, I wonder what that kid on Atlanta Sports District is saying. Maybe we should listen to him. But I've been screaming from the rafters, please play bigger, play bigger, play bigger, play bigger. Lean into the defense, lean into the defense, lean into the defense. We finally did it, and it showed really beautiful results tonight. So I really, really enjoyed seeing that. Moving into the player-by-player section, we'll start with the bench. Asa played 11 minutes. He had 9 points on 4 of 5 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3. He had 4 rebounds. He did have 3 fouls. Finished the game plus 20. Again, when you put him in the lineup with people who can defend, then the offense is allowed to shine, and the offense looked great tonight. I said this to someone last week, but Asa has this wonderful combination of skills where he's a very skilled player. Like, he can handle, he can pass, he can shoot. He's very skilled, but he's also very fast straight ahead and has probably a 97th or 98th percentile vertical. If you're talking about, like, if you take all the players in the NBA and you say, put them all in a graph, he would be in the 97th percentile, top 97 vertical jump. And so that player, a dude who's super fast straight ahead, very, very skilled, and has a 97 percentile vertical, is going to be a very good offensive player. The problem is that he is not very quick side to side. He doesn't have, like, shiftiness. When you don't have shiftiness, you cannot defend. That is what teams will attack you with. They will just attack you side to side, and then you have no chance to stop them. It's kind of like Rudy Gobert, where a lot of teams struggle to stop Rudy Gobert because defensively, because when he is able to play and drop, and you can't attack him side to side, then he can use his huge frame and block shots. And he's got great footwork and technique. But when you attack him side to side, when you attack him with lobs or back cuts and things like that, he is not capable of stopping that in the playoffs. Teams build their game plan around attacking him, what I call horizontally, instead of coming at him straight on. And then they get blown out in the playoffs because he cannot stop that. And so their whole defensive game plan is built around Rudy Gobert. And now the game plan is broken because they're attacking him in the way that they can destroy him. Well, that's the problem with Asa. He also is bad side to side, but he's a really skilled offensive player. So he kind of can make up for it if you play him in lineups wherein he has other players that can make up for that side-to-side quickness deficiency that he has. So really love seeing that. If they want to do that, if they want to play Asa like only when Jalen's playing the 3 and someone else is playing the 5, I'm super cool with that. But if you're going to play Asa at your 5 and have him defensive anchor for your team, I am very super not cool with that. So let's hope they do it the way that can make him successful, because at the end of the day, that's what I want to see. I want to see Asa have a successful rookie season and to really ingrain himself as a true building block as we move forward in the future of the Atlanta Hawks. Now, moving on, we will talk about Keaton Wallace. Keaton played 17 minutes. He had 10 points on 4 of 6 shooting. He was 2 of 3 from 3. He had 2 assists, didn't turn the ball over, and was plus 5. The defense is still a little rough. He's pretty small. He was on the floor at the start of the fourth quarter when we made that little bit of a run that kind of solidified everything. Same thing with Asa, kind of his big run that got him, a big plus minus was that there at the start of the fourth quarter when it was him and Jalen and Onyeka in the game. That unit really played well because, again, we were able to get stops and able to get out and run. And quite honestly, when Keaton doesn't turn the ball over and he shoots the ball well, he's a very valuable player, even if he's not playing great on defense. Now, granted, I would love to see him be able to play much better on defense, but they don't really have a guy who's his size who he can affect their jumper. And that's the main problem with Keaton, is just he is small. It's similar to the Trey problem, where he's just a tiny player. And so I don't care how good his technique is, I don't care how tenacious he is. If you're that small, people just shoot over chairs. It's like you're a cone that's standing there. And so that's kind of the problem he's had defensively, problem he had tonight, but the offense made up for it. He had a very positive game. Moving on, we'll talk about Mo Gay. Mo played 19 minutes. He didn't score on 2 shots. He was 0 of 1 from 3. He had 2 rebounds and 5 fouls. He did have a block, but he was minus 12. Mo had the misfortune of being on the court when they made their run in the third quarter, when they were making a lot of shots. We were missing a lot of shots, And I don't think it was his fault. I think the defense was honestly very good. There were a few kind of chippy moments that kind of got them riled up. The Nuggets started making some shots. They kind of got, in the game, got the juices flowing. And Mo was on the floor when that happened. The chippiness was between him and Aaron Gordon. And quite honestly, he's playing amazing defense. He's got, his 7-foot frame in the guy's face, hands up, and the guy just makes a shot, and you go, shake his hand. That was really wonderful offensive possession. Good offense will beat good defense any day, but you just have to, make it as a low a probability that they'll be able to make that shot as possible. And quite honestly, I thought Mo did that. I think he just had the negative plus minus from that one run where, again, they were making very low probability shots at a very high clip. And that's the kind of thing where if you make them do that for a full 48-minute game, they're going to score 87 points. And that's what we did. Mo just got the bad end of the stick where he was on the floor when they were actually making them. The only times they made them for the whole game, basically. I mean, their shooting percentage was quite awful. If you look at their team, they had 42% of their field goals. That is a very, very low number in an NBA game. We kind of struggled from the field and shot 49. And so that's the kind of impact that our defense had today. I do think Mo was a huge part of that, but the plus minus didn't exactly portray that because just a little unlucky. But overall, I thought he played very well. I do want to see him play downhill. Please attack more. Please attack more. Please attack more because you're a better offensive player than the numbers are showing. But nobody knows that. But also, I talk about when Mo Gay plays 18 minutes or more. He played 19 minutes. When he plays 18 minutes or more, we usually blow the other team out. There's a reason that happens. He's a very positive impact player. And lastly, we'll talk about Luke Kennard. He played 27 minutes. He had 8 points on 3 of 6 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3. He had a rebound and 4 assists with 2 fouls. He didn't record a block, but he did record 2 steals, and he was plus 18. When he plays aggressive and he shoots the ball, we win in his minutes. And when he does not, we do not. So keep playing aggressive and shooting the ball, Luke, because when you do, you're really playing well, and I really love seeing you on the floor. When you don't, I really don't love seeing you on the floor. Keep playing this way. Keep believing in yourself. Keep attacking. That's my main thing. When I've coached before, when I've trained before, when I've talked with people, every single time, the number one thing I never got as a player, the number one thing nobody ever did for the majority of the people I've ever talked to is make them believe in themselves. I had to build my own confidence. My teammates had to build their own confidence. Luke Kennard is having to build his own confidence right now, and he's finally doing it, and I'm hoping that the coaching staff is saying, great job. This is exactly what we want from you. Keep doing it. Keep being more confident. You got this, because it's really what he's needed in his career for his entire career. If Luke Kennard was being aggressive as he's been in these last 4 or 5 games for his whole career, he'd be an all-star because he's that talented of a skill-based player, but he's just never had that kind of confidence. And so I desperately hope this is a Luke Kennard that we will get for the rest of the year, this confidence level. Now, moving to the starters. Pete Krejci had a rough one. He played 27 minutes. He did not score on 0 of 8 shooting, 0 of 7 from 3, no rebounds, an assist, 3 fouls, and was plus 7. That shows you how much spacing matters because he does space well. He had his worst shooting game of the year. He had a very poor defensive game. He was fouling people left and right. He was making very poor decisions, and we still won his minutes because spacing helps so much for driving lanes. And they were just so worried about him. They've read the scouting report. They know that over the past 3 seasons, he's a 43% three-point shooter. You can't leave him. They didn't. Made his life very hard, but the spacing was that so much. It added so much to the overall ability of our starting unit to be able to attack that we won his minutes. That's crazy. That should tell you everything you need to know about spacing and why it's so important to have good spacing and to understand it as an offensive player. If you're watching this and you're, a young kid and you're wanting to learn how do I become a better offensive player, the first thing you need to master is how do I space the floor better, because it will make everyone on my team a better player. That's what Pete Krejci did tonight. Really wonderful overall game in that way. I do hope that he gets a shot back because it's been a couple of games since he's been really locking down. I think that he's a much better shooter than that. Obviously, he's a very, very, very good shooter, but it's been a little rough. And so I'm just hoping he, returns to his, 43% over 3 years kind of shooter. And then we'll be perfectly fine. The offense, really, what happened tonight was there were a few players that just didn't shoot the ball well. And we're going to get to another one here, talking about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He played 33 minutes. He had 22 points, but on 21 shots. 3 of 11 from 3, and he had 8 rebounds, 3 assists with only 1 turnover. And he finished the game +9. The defense for Null was fantastic. 2 steals, only 1 turnover, as I said. 3 assists, good turnover to assist ratio. He caused havoc. He, made plays, but he missed a lot of shots he should have made. Wide open looks that he just, for some reason, he was off today. And that's the reason I say human beings miss shots. How are you going to help the team in other ways? Well, tonight, he got 8 rebounds, he got some steals, he played fantastic defense, he helped the team win in his minutes. That's the kind of thing that makes your team a winning team. When all is going wrong, the thing that you usually give us that is your best skill, how do you make us win still? And that is the tell of the tape. If you can do that, if you can make us win even when everything you think you can give us is going wrong, that is when you will know that you have a real roster that can really do something, when you have every player can do that. That's the thing that makes Oklahoma City so great, is that if Shea's not scoring, he knows I can pass a little bit and I can play defense and everything will be great. Moving on, we will talk about Dyson Daniels next. Dyson played 36 minutes. He had 17 points on 8 of 14 shooting, 0 of 2 from 3. He had 11 rebounds, 10 assists, his first ever career triple-double. Congratulations to Dyson. And he was plus 25. That was one heck of a basketball game from Dyson Daniels. He was aggressive. He was playing downhill. Like I said, he's one of the guys who played super downhill all night, no matter what. Him, Asa, and the guy we're about to talk about next, they all played downhill. They all attacked with extreme fervor. And when you do that, good things happen. I talk about it before. I've talked about it a lot. But when you're attacking and you make them stop you, then you can turn, find a teammate, and almost always they're open for a shot. And they will make it because NBA players make open shots. If you don't attack, then you don't have that opportunity. And that's the big difference between the 10 assists that Dyson was able to get and the not so many assists that Jalen was able to get. Because if you play downhill, you play aggressive, you make them stop you, you create open looks for your teammates. And then if they don't stop you, you still score. That's my thing, is like, either they don't stop you and you lay it in or you dunk it, or they do stop you by sending multiple at you, because most of our players are so talented that they have to send multiple to stop you. Then a guy is open, you hit him, he shoots it, and he makes it because NBA players make open shots. Now, moving on to Onyeka Okongwu. Onyeka played 35 minutes. He had 15 points on 6 of 14 shooting, 3 of 7 from 3, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. To that you go, he didn't really play that well. Onyeka played downhill all night and played like where he could get to the paint. When he got to the paint, he found open guys. The ball was pinging off of him, then it was pinging to somebody else. Open jumpers were being created by Onyeka's downhill aggression. And because of that, and because he played well on defense, Onyeka Okongwu finished this game plus 32 in the scorebook. When you're playing downhill, when you're playing aggressive, that is what happens. You win your minutes almost every time because defenses do not actually want to have to guard you. If you force them to guard you, they are usually bad at that. Most defenses in the NBA, if you really force them to guard you, they can't do it. Because of the way the rules have changed, they're going to foul you or they're going to get out of rotation. You have to make them make an error. And when you do, you destroy them. And teams make errors a lot. You just have to force them into it. So that is what I would love to see from Mo and Jalen, is that downhill, relentless attack. If you do that, you will force two to play you, and every single player on our team will have that, has that capability. If we all do it, if we all say, I am going to dunk the ball or I'm going to lay up the ball unless you stop me, that is when we will have a very good offense and we'll be able to play defense at the clip that we were able to play tonight. Lastly, we're going to talk about Jalen Johnson. Jalen played 35 minutes. He had 29 points on 12 of 18 shooting, 5 of 6 from 3. 9 rebounds, 6 assists with 2 turnovers, and finished the game plus 11. Jalen shot the ball tremendously well from the field tonight. He was absolutely fantastic at scoring from the three-point line and from scoring easy opportunities that were given to him at the rim by a teammate. I would like to see him create more downhill opportunities. I think tonight, with the units they had on the floor, Jalen could have scored 50 if he had played the aggressive level, with the aggressiveness level that I want him to play with. With the every time they put somebody on me that is not big enough, I mean, there were people that looked to Jalen like toddlers, and he did not attack them. If you have a Pickett on your guarding you, attack him. If you have Tim Hardaway Jr. on you, attack him. If you have Hunter Tyson on you, attack him. I don't care if it's Peyton Watson. You outweigh Peyton Watson by 50 pounds. Run him over. That is how you play in the modern NBA. Because quite honestly, go watch Giannis play. Go watch Paolo Banchero play. Go watch any of these really, really great, proven offensive stars. The difference between them and Jalen right now is that every time they have a positive matchup, they ram their head in there and they get a foul or they lay it in. Every single time. Now, am I saying that's beautiful basketball? No. But sometimes you have to play the field. If they're going to change the rule book to make it where being under control does not matter, which they did, then attack the rule book. By rule, that guy's not stationary. That's a blocking foul. Give me my 2 free throws. I'm scoring 50 tonight. That's what I want to see from Jalen. I think if he reaches that point, that's when we have a real winner on our hands. Now, moving forward, on Sunday, we have got the Golden State Warriors in Golden State. They are also kind of a hovering around 500 basketball team. They are not as talented as we are. They do not have the defensive ability that we have. If we lean into our defense, I would think we'll have a similar outcome to tonight's game. The only thing is, I don't know who the heck is going to stop Steph Curry because he is insane. And I'm, looking here, he is still averaging 28 points per game. I mean, that is insanity at his age. He is unstoppable. I'm hoping that we can, throw Dyson and gnaw at him like we have been doing with this, making sure that we're staggering them. One of them's always on the floor. I hope we continue to play big. I think that will cause huge problems for them because they play like Jimmy Butler at the 4, Kuminga at the 4. These players who are significantly smaller than the guys we can put at that position. I think that would give them big problems. After that, as I've said, we've got the Lakers and Trailblazers on this West Coast road trip. I am really hoping that we can continue to build on the positive outcomes we are getting defensively. That is the main thing that I'm hoping we're getting out of this, is that if we lean into the defense, it will win us games. We have an insanely talented defensive roster, so attack with the defense. That is my message to the team. I hope that as a fan base we get to see it because there's nothing more beautiful than watching the Atlanta Hawks hold a team to 87 points. So, like I say, like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. I'm not a huge lover of asking for that sort of thing. I always ask right here at the end of the podcast when it would probably be better to do it at the beginning. I understand that. But at the end of the day, I just want to hear from y'all. Comment, let me know your thoughts on everything that's going on. I heard a couple of things from people about the Trae Young trade, and I appreciate some of the, kind feedback about the trade. And, I was pretty down, and I'm still pretty down. That's literally my favorite player of all time. That's no longer on my favorite team. And so that hurts, But at the end of the day, I'm hoping that we're moving forward. As I said, the trade is a sunk cost. It's happened. Let's make the right decision moving forward. Continue to make the right decision, continue to make the right decision until we build a real winner that I think we can in this city. This city is a basketball city. We deserve a winner. Let's go out and get it. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know everything you got. And above all else, I hope you have a great day.